पिछले एपिसोड में स्पेस टूरिज्म की बातें तो हमने कर ली। अब तक तो आप समझ गए होंगे कि स्पेस अब उतना दूर नहीं है जितना हम लोग समझते थे। अब तो Amazon's founder Jeff Bezos himself has gone to space. It's a matter of time that other billionaires and then millionaires follow suit for this ultimate experience. But is the situation as rosy as it seems? While we applaud the greatest engineering marvel, are we getting distracted from more important and basic things we need to address? While these missions are breaking headlines and being appreciated by all, we also need to stop and explore the darker side of space tourism. We need to look at the monetary as well as the environmental aspects and figure out how far we can go in this. Does uber-rich people spending crores of rupees for a few moments on space make sense जब हजारों लोगों को basic necessities भी नहीं मिल रही है? Let's take a deeper look at this in today's episode. Welcome to Dil Maange More, where every week we, the Geek Squad, will take you on a trip through a universe of astonishing innovations, high-tech tales and curious cases of the geek world. Intelligence से artificial intelligence तक, cars से Mars तक, Bitcoin से robotics तक, cloud gaming से cyber shaming तक. Geek Squad is always seeking, looking, eating, drinking, breathing, telling stories of unsatiable thirst for knowledge and information.
This podcast is brought to you by global technology leader Taiwan Excellence. Did you know the filtration media used in the N95 mask was invented by Peter Tsai, a Taiwanese-American material scientist? Stay tuned because Dil Maange More.
It's not like nothing good happens from space travel. अब ये मिशन इंस्पिरेशन 4 की ही बात ले लो. Commanded by American billionaire, businessman, pilot and commercial astronaut Jared Isaacman. This was the first trip in space where all the 4 crew members were non-professional astronauts. The historic space flight orbited the Earth for 3 whole days, from September 15th to 18th this year. From September 15th to 18th this year. अब ये सब तो ठीक है, but the important thing is that this mission aimed to raise more than $200 million or 1,490 crore rupees for St. Jude's Children's Cancer Research Hospital, Tennessee, with Isaacman pledging more than $100 million or 745 crore rupees from his own funds. Elon Musk, CEO of SpaceX, also chipped in and declared a donation of more than $50 million, yani 372 crore rupees, once the crew returned safely to Earth on September 18, 2021, thereby putting the mission on top of its quest. One of the crew members, Haley Arsenau, is a cancer survivor herself. She was treated for cancer at the St. Jude Hospital as a child and currently works as a physician in the same hospital. At age 29, Haley became the youngest American in space and the first astronaut with a prosthetic limb. Having said all this, it remains mostly an exception. Most space missions remain a joyride in space for some of the richest people in the world. तो सवाल ये है कि while these people are having great fun, there are serious issues like the pandemic, climate change, and poverty that need to be tackled urgently. Both Richard Branson and Jeff Bezos, who went for space trips on their private spacecrafts, faced fierce backlash. Many criticized Branson for spending a massive fortune on a space trip while he had not paid income tax in the UK since moving to the tax-free British Virgin Islands 14 years ago. Critics also pointed out that Branson had appealed for government support to keep his airline Virgin Atlantic going in April 2020. And yet, here he was, spending crores on his space flight on 11 July 2021. पर सबसे ज़्यादा backlash face करना पड़ा Jeff Bezos को. The Amazon founder took a 10-minute ride to space on 20th July 2021, costing $5.5 billion, and thanked the employees and customers of his e-commerce empire for paying for it. This comment created a huge uproar, especially from the Amazon employees, who were ironically protesting against the poor working conditions and low salaries while Bezos was enjoying in space. Also accused of not paying his taxes, Bezos was criticized severely for his comment that was viewed more as a slap in the workers' faces. We take it as disrespect. And all the money he was donating, giving out, and the fact that I'm outside of his facility in 90-degree weather, handing out waters, we honestly don't even care about it. Said Chris Smalls, an activist and former Amazon Fulfillment Center worker. Smalls said that he did not even watch the live event. I'm in the middle of a union drive right now. While Branson and Bezos defended themselves by justifying their mission while responding to the criticisms, the larger question of economic inequality is daunting. और इससे भी ज़्यादा daunting है the environmental impact of these space flights, which we will discuss in the next segment.
From relatively modest beginnings in Taiwan, this company has grown since 1986 into an award-winning global brand with over 2,000 employees in 60 countries. D-Link is a global leader in designing and developing networking and connectivity products, laying the foundation for a world that's more connected, smarter, and more convenient.
There is one thing that the pandemic has made us realize, and that is that nothing is certain. We take a lot of things for granted, thinking things will always go well. But a tiny virus has made us realize that life can change in a matter of weeks. And many scientists believe that the next big upheaval in our lives could come in the form of climate change. And as you would expect, space travel does not rate very well in this regard. The hybrid engines used in the rocket launchers generate a lot of black carbon or soot irrespective of what fuel they use. According to some analysts, a single Virgin Galactic suborbital space tourism flight lasting about an hour and a half can generate as much pollution as a 10-hour air flight across the Atlantic Ocean. What makes things even worse is that these rockets pollute the higher layers of the atmosphere, the stratosphere and the mesosphere, where pollutants are not normally released. Northern Sky Research predicts that the number of space tourism flights will skyrocket over the next decade, from maybe 10 a year in the near future to 360 a year by 2030. This estimate is still far below the growth rate that space tourism companies envision for themselves. और space tourism की demand इतनी high है कि already there are customers waiting in line. With tons of black carbon released in the upper layers, the Earth's climate will go haywire. The problem is that black carbon absorbs ultraviolet rays, and that means that it could heat the stratosphere. This would start changing the motion or the energy transfer between the layers of atmosphere, thereby affecting the ground situation. Just as the current climate crisis started relatively slowly as the amount of carbon released into the atmosphere grew, the pollution in the stratosphere may only start causing harm some years down the road. In the long term, injecting pollutants into the stratosphere could alter the polar jet stream, change winter storm patterns, or affect average rainfall. An increased number of rocket launches also means more holes in the ozone layer, and we all know how harmful that is. Additionally, the black carbon particles released by the hybrid rocket engines are extremely small and lightweight, and these particles, in fact, would stay in the stratosphere forever. पर सबसे स्कैरी बात यह है कि scientists do not have sufficient data to predict at what point rocket launches will start having a measurable effect on the planet's climate. At the same time, the stratosphere is already changing as the number of rocket launches sneakily grows. Uncertainty काफी ज़्यादा है और too little is known. सोचने की बात है कि हमें space travel किस हद तक pursue करना है. We humans are known to be reckless. We cannot even take care of our one planet. So are we ready to take responsibility of the whole universe? इतिहास गवाह है that our greed has always overtaken us. There's a thin line between exploring space and interfering with it. So the question is, do we know how to stay within that line? सोचने की बात है, नहीं? With that, this is Sapna Bhatt signing off. Space की कहानी सुन-सुनकर चक्कर तो नहीं आ गया? So next week, we are going to talk about the future of storytelling. You all must have heard of AI and machines taking over your jobs. But what if I told you that AI could soon be writing stories as well? Could AI replace your dadima as the one making up your bedtime stories? That's exactly what we are going to talk about in our next episode. Till then, like and follow Taiwan Excellence India on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube.
This podcast is produced by Taiwan Excellence.